All right, everybody. I am riding solo tonight for the Monday Night Hammer. I am Nick at the underscore Sims. My usual partner in crime here, Michael Sokoli. He's doing. I'm actually not sure, either a journalism interview where he's interviewing something for a story, which I think is the most likely scenario, or the young college man is in an interview for some type of internship or position. Wish him all the luck. Either way, he might join in a little bit. But we're riding solo. First time doing this, so bear with me. Let me first take a moment to do some social stuff so the people out there can get the nuanced takes that they need. This week, we returned to a little bit more of a predictable week, I'd say. Some of the preseason darlings got back out onto the field. A.J. Brown had a nice week. Finally, that was huge. A couple other storylines. The Kyle Pitts eruption's coming. He's certainly looking like it's certainly looking like we were all correct in saying that. Yeah, usually rookie tight ends don't produce, but Kyle Pitts can kind of be viewed as an oversized wide receiver and has the highest draft capital of any tight end we've ever seen, and just really dominated some talented corners in the SEC. So it was all real. All the signals were there. So that's good to see. Jamar Chase is a freak. He actually has to have the all-time receiving record through 8 weeks of your rookie season. He needs negative 53 yards next week. So he already has broken the 8-week pace for the best rookie season of all time. They keep getting better and better, those wide receivers coming out of college. The game is changing, folks. It looks like Mike will be joining us shortly, just in time for some injury news. What we got here is Miles Sanders is probably one of the bigger ones. Tweaked his ankle, and it's a shame because he was really looking good. It looked like they were very intentional about having him be a part of the game plan to control the pace of play. I saw a tweet today. He's going to be week to week. So there he is, just in the nick of time. Listen, in a college world, if the professor's not there in 15 minutes and they're tenured, you can leave.
That's why I was rushing here to get here within 15 minutes.
You're not tenured. You're not tenured. So I was out of here in 10 minutes. I was out of here in 10 minutes.
I was about to get thrown off the show for the rest of the season.
Never.
I apologize for being late, everybody. It was a bit of a crazy day. Had to reschedule an interview for one of my assignments, so I had to hop on that just like that. But
I was actually speculating. Part of the beginning of the show is Michael interviewing for a position, or is he interviewing for a story? And it turns out I was wrong on both accounts. Interviewing for an assignment.
For a story. My senior capstone project. Big story. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome.
All right. You got to check Michael Score __. Don't forget it. Sokoli on Twitter. If you look up his name, you'll find him. It's easy.
For sure. But where are we at?
Where we're at, Miles Sanders is week to week with an ankle injury. Kenny Gainwell, truthers stand up. He did not look great. Not gonna lie, he didn't look like he could step in as a 3-down bell cow. What'd you see out of Kenny Gainwell when Miles Sanders went down?
The thing is, he doesn't really need to be a 3-down bell cow. That's not really what he's built to be. That's not really a skill set. He's a talented player, Kenny Gainwell. He was a guy that slipped to day 3, and people were shocked he slipped to day 3. Mm-hmm. I know I was. So this is a guy that he will catch passes. He's now, in my opinion, he's going to get third downs on lock. And while maybe Boston Scott mixes in on early downs, I expect them to add somebody. Maybe we see a weird trade happen.
Well, they had Carry On. You might see Carry On join the fold. Also, another name. This is just putting puzzle pieces together. Pure speculation. Marlon Mack, Nick Sirianni.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that. I think that's a realistic thing.
I don't think they view themselves as a competitor. I don't think you make that move.
And yet I'm hearing Philadelphia and Deshaun Watson talks. And I understand quarterback's a different, whole different beast.
Yeah.
But this is a team that with two first-round picks that will be high. It's Howie Roseman is still the GM of this team. Am I correct? Right?
I believe so.
That guy's on the hot seat. I don't know. What will they let him? Will they let him go forward? Because he's gonna if he survives this season, he's got to choose that quarterback in the future. Do they trust him to do that, or does he just control his own fate? And does he just go out? It won't cost much from Marlon Mack. They send a 2023 sixth. I think we're
projecting. I think we just all want Marlon Mack to find a good home.
Yes,
we all want him to find a good home.
We want to
'Cause
see him do well, so it gives us more faith for
the
Cam Akers.
Ravens, the Chiefs,
49ers.
the 49ers, just find Marlon Mack a good home because he deserves it. He's coming off that Achilles injury. He looks good. He looks like he's explosive still. Let's just touch briefly on some of these. Josh Jacobs, I think he's going to be fine. He was really just tearing through the Eagles defense and kind of just went out mid third quarter. He kind of seems to be a back where like a lot of injuries that some players could play through, like pain tolerance type stuff, like him. Dalvin Cook is kind of this way. Like there's just some backs that can't play through it, and that's just a symptom of the type of player that they are. I don't think it has anything to do with their masculinity. I'm not coming at Josh Jacobs' masculinity, but I just think that there's some backs that are more durable than others. We're going to get into the top 20 backs and just kind of take a look at what types of players are near the top and what separates the elite from the really good. But anyway, Josh Jacobs, any thoughts on that situation? We could jump briefly into paying $11 million for Kenyon Drake, but we've been through that.
No, and my thoughts about Josh Jacobs is about Kenyon Drake. Like, listen, Josh Jacobs is a good player. He's displayed that, even when the yards per carry has been fluctuating. But Kenyon Drake has been super involved since John Gruden's been gone. And granted, it's a 2-week sample size, but this was a guy they paid up to use. And it's an in-house hire. It's an interim coach, so it's the same type of system. It's somebody who wants to use him. Kenyon Drake saw that increased role. He found the end zone in back-to-back weeks now, twice last week against Denver. His snaps went up this week with Josh Jacobs going down, which Jacobs will likely be fine with a bye week to heal up. But this is back-to-back weeks with Kenyon Drake inside the top 24.
Yep.
So Kenyon Drake plays the Giants next week, or in week 9, then KC, then Cincinnati, then Dallas. I think you could play him for 4 straight weeks potentially. So
yeah,
Kenyon Drake might be an interesting buy low for one of those dynasty teams that is looking to buy a cheap piece to get in, an RB no less. Or even Andy, you can include that in redraft as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of like my favorite dynasty team I have right now. I have kind of like that one elite running back who's young, DeAndre Swift for me, to anchor it, and then we're just playing the rotation game. Although I did just trade for Leonard Fournette, who's a bell cow. We'll get back to that in a moment. But yeah, definitely you can piece together a nice RB2 in today's NFL, especially with the Nyheim Hines of the world, the Kenny Gainwells of the world, and those types of players. But let's move through some of these quickly. Zach Wilson, Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson has a concussion. Zach Wilson's knee injury, looking like a torn PCL. Don't expect him back. Not that you were relying on Zach Wilson. Let's just talk about the two that matter. Pat Mahomes clearing concussion protocol. Thank goodness. Glad he's okay. And Davante Adams with the COVID-19 designation. Again, whomst I just traded for in the deal with Leonard Fournette. So, of course, he catches the novel coronavirus. So what are we doing with Packers wide receivers? Who's the guy to have if you can add somebody?
The guy to add, listen, the Packers immediately dropped to they were a -3 or I think a +3 underdog against the Cardinals. They dropped 3 points immediately after.
On the Adams news?
On the Adams news. There's a lot of players missing. They're missing their starting center. They're missing Zadarius Smith. They're missing Jaire Alexander. They're missing Davante Adams. This is a banged-up team. But if I'm playing anybody, it's Allen Lazard, who got 91% snaps.
It's surprising to see a 3-point line movement with anything, because even some quarterbacks don't move the line that much. Like Aaron Rodgers, of course, moves the line a ton. But
I mean, did you see what Davante Adams? Davante Adams made some ridiculous plays last week. Listen, we know what Davante Adams is, but I think he's still somehow underrated in terms of talent. Like this is probably the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah, and just like the way he projects, it's just different from other wide receivers. You know what I mean? Because his catch rate is so high, his target numbers are so high, his high value targets, like where he's being targeted, is so high, and it's just like he projects for like 6 more points than the next best wide receiver on some weeks,
and for good reason. But the guy I would be expecting to make that jump would be Allen Lazard. Again, he saw 91% of snaps last week. 85 the week before, 86. This is a near every down type of guy. And I don't think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is very good. I don't think Aaron Rodgers trusts him nearly as much as he might trust Allen Lazard.
Yeah,
Alan
Lazard, I think, is gonna. If you're gonna look at his like target tree, 6 targets you said there, like he's gonna be running the routes that Devontae Adams is running, and then everybody else is kind of gadgety.
Exactly. Valdez-Scantling is going to be sprinting downfield. Lazard will be the possession guy between the
moving the
within
chains.
20 yards. Yeah, moving the chains, and that's a good PPR.
But we've
play.
seen this. We've seen this before, and it's like don't expect a big blow up out of Lazard. He's just going to have a little bit more of an expanded role, but he's going to be way less efficient because he's not Devontae Adams.
14 points. I guess a 7 for 80 would be a pretty nice day for him.
Yeah, if he gets in the end zone, you're really happy.
You're very happy.
Yeah. But it's just like, it just kind of shows like Devontae Adams just head and shoulders above a lot of other wide receivers in the league.
Absolutely.
All right, let's dive in here. One thing I did mention before you hopped on, AJ Brown, by the way, we talked about him in your rant. We'll have another rant coming. He's back, making contested catches, looking explosive. So AJB season is back. Unfortunately, he is not. No, if you had him as number 1 dynasty wide receiver overall, which some people did, that has firmly been passed. The torch has firmly been passed to Ja'Marr Chase for the foreseeable future. I don't care.
Hold up.
Who are you putting ahead of Ja'Marr Chase right now?
First of all, I've said it. I think I've said it for several weeks with my apologies. I am wrong about Ja'Marr Chase in terms of this season.
The number 1 dynasty wide receiver.
No,
point
the
blank,
number 2.
period.
I was talking about this with some other people the other day, actually, because we were trying to think about, where does Ja'Marr Chase end up? And I concluded, listen, shout out to him. He's my 2. But Justin Jefferson is still my number 1. Jefferson is still my number 1.
He's breaking all of his records as we speak. And he has his best friend at quarterback for the next 10 years.
Okay. Justin Jefferson has done it already. Ja'Marr Chase will do it. But I don't see an issue with taking Justin Jefferson over him. I don't know. Like, this is a top 5 option.
Because through 8 weeks in his rookie year, he's outpacing Justin Jefferson's rookie record.
That's great. But 8 weeks of sample size? I've got 20.
You're going to hit me with a sample size? You're going to hit me with a sample size? I am going to hit you with a sample size. I think we were anointing Brandon Ayuk as the next best thing. I didn't just say that, but that was uncalled for.
That was uncalled for.
Brandon Ayuk is an analytics darling. He's just in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse right now. He might actually need to change the scenery. We're not going to talk about Brandon Ayuk again on this
change of scenery.
On this stream.
But Ja'Marr Chase is he's a top 3 lock. It's probably he's my 2. You could easily make the argument for the 1. I wouldn't blame you either way. I really wouldn't.
I mean, he's bound to slow down.
T. Higgins being around is a difference in terms of like Justin Jefferson's going to have a world with that. And I don't think that. I don't think Ja'Marr is going to have a world with that T. Higgins, and they could both be great, but maybe he caps a little bit of ceiling.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was
just devil's advocate.
Why are we advocating for the devil? That's what I say. But anyway.
Okay.
Let's take a look
you down sometimes. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. Let's take a look at some of these, let's say top 15-ish running backs. If you want to pull up, actually, I can share my screen. Let me share my screen.
That would be perfect. I'm still a little bit behind.
There we go. The production value. Where am I at? Share. Let me get a Chrome tab here.
Yep, share Chrome tab, and that's your
There we go. All right. I'm acting like a boomer. I'm going to be 30 soon. All right. Can we see that? Let's go. Okay. Let's take a look at the old data here. So Derrick Henry, obviously number 1 spot, outpacing the next best PPR running back by over 50 points, about 49 points. If you look at his numbers here, it's just sheer volume. Plus insane efficiency because he's a Mack truck. 191 attempts. If we sort by attempts here, the next most is Joe Mixon with 123. It's just usage. We don't need fancy stats. If you get the ball more and you're a good football player and you're durable and you can withstand the violence of an NFL game, you're going to score more fantasy points. And then on top of that, he's not at the top of the list for receptions, but I mean, he's top 20. He's top 20 in receptions at the running back position, which is what's really blowing this out of the water. I don't know that we need to spend a whole lot of time talking about how great Derrick Henry is because at this point, his price is really high. So it's not a buy low moment. We keep screaming regression. I think the message on Derrick Henry is, it's for real. And until otherwise, ride it into the sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to spend much time on Derrick Henry. He's elite. I just want to add on to that reception total because 18 reception, it's not a lot. That's tied for his career high, pretty much. Like his career high is 19 receptions on a season. Like his second highest
Yeah,
is 18, so
that's
he's
real,
already
folks.
there. So
Yeah.
that this could go up. I think that's
And
a
he throws
product
touchdown
of
passes now. And he throws
yes. Now he
touchdown
does that
passes.
too because of course he does. But I think it's all the receptions might not happen because I think that was also a product of the Titans dropping a surprising amount of games, the receivers being injured,
Yeah.
Darrison Evans being injured, and now he's back as well. But it doesn't matter. He's elite. You're gonna ride him until until you can't.
It seems like one thing that like you can if Julio Jones or AJ Brown are banged up, which they tend to go in and out of the lineup, just the type of player they are, they lean on Derrick Henry even more in those games, and he delivers. I will say that if there is something, maybe if I was a Derrick Henry owner and I had to be worried about something, it's the Chiefs did have a formula to stop him. They couldn't stop anything else, and it went horribly wrong. But if there's a team that can maybe man up a little bit with Julio Jones and AJ Brown, and I can't even say that with a straight face, but if there is a team that can do that and also, I guess, load the box with 9 or however many players, like the Chiefs are a bad defense, and scheme alone helped them slow down Derrick Henry, if at the cost of an absolute evisceration through the air with AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Let's move on to one that might be surprising people a little bit here. It's that DeAndre Swift is the number 2 overall PPR back. Of course, you have not Eckler, Najee Harris, who haven't played their 7th game yet, so they probably will move right in there with him. But I mean, he's getting every high value touch, 70-yard touchdown. He has the elite receiving chops that we see CMC and Alvin Kamara. He is that type of back. And he's still ceding a good 33% of the work to Jamal Williams. So if anything were happening to Jamal Williams, like DeAndre Swift is going to, that's such a dumb stat.
I'm obviously joking. DeAndre Swift, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, depending on the league you had. But
yeah,
it really, it's shocking because he's not even 100% healthy. He hasn't been like all year. He's been limited in practice every single week. He dealt with some injuries right before the season. He's out there on a terrible team that has no other weapons. Teams know that the ball's going to Swift, but he's getting after it. He's a good player. He's a top 5 dynasty back, probably top 3. He's the type of guy I don't think we need to be talking about either. Honestly, I think we know what DeAndre Swift is. He's elite.
So let's move on to Jonathan Taylor, which the way the whole team is baffling at times. I mean, he's on field. He just shredding pieces, but they will take him off the field in like big time moments. They'll go full half, 2 carries. Just he's the one that up a little bit and kind of a little bit careful. His like DeAndre Swift, he lacks in yards per carry. Like Jonathan Taylor is an outlier in the opposite direction of that, where you can see that he is getting more yards per carry, and it matters. He's breaking tackles more often. He's doing more every time he touches the ball. Just a joy to watch. And he's another one, like if Nyheim Hines goes down, he probably sees more pass down work because he can do it. He's one where he could even grow from the top 3 overall. But if you want to say anything about Jonathan Taylor, go ahead. But is there anybody in this top 15 or so that surprises you? And we can dive into what we're seeing there.
I'm gonna just quickly rule out Kareem Hunt as an outlier type of thing. For anyone wondering, I don't think that this is indicative of much of the Kareem Hunt thing. Like he gets the goal line carries, and that's why he's there. But now that he's injured, it's a little bit of a different story. Nick Chubb missed a couple of games.
Super efficient.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's weird because he hasn't been that good this year. Honestly, like if you watch him
from a tape perspective,
he does not look explosive. Maybe it's the matchups. Maybe it was the workload in those certain games. But really, it's where he's being used on the field, and that's what people were saying caps that Nick Chubb's upside is where he's being used. Obviously, that highlight name that you have there, the surprise of this list is Cordell Patterson.
Oh,
now, you've been touting him as a sell. Obviously, I think we all agree that he's a strong sell in Dynasty. But I think at this point, we are 7 weeks into the season. He's produced every single week. It's an outlier season, but outlier seasons in championships. So if you're a contender if you're in redraft, how are you valuing Cordell Patterson? Because I don't think he's going away. Now we have Mike Davis dealing with some injury as well. He kind of left last game. I don't know how severe that one was, but Cordell Patterson's he's trusted. He's being schemed. This isn't the big difference to the Falcons this year is head coach Arthur Smith, and all of a sudden now Cordell Patterson's the guy.
Yeah.
It's happening this year. It really is.
So what I have here is his game log, right? So here's where like week 4 on 6 attempts, 6 targets, he scored 30 fantasy points. But
yeah,
7 attempts, 7 targets, he scores 10, 7 attempts, 7 targets, he scores 19, just hyper efficient, just on a pure fantasy points per touch basis. Now, what you'll see here in week 5 and week 7, consistent bumps in usage. He's taken another third of the rush attempts. So he's seen 14 carries in his last 2 games. And his target numbers are north of 5. That's 20-ish looks a game for his price, which was basically free. Like, you can't beat it. And it's going to sustain moving forward. The pendulum's swinging back in his favor. Mike Davis is becoming a little bit of an afterthought. He's one of their playmakers on a team that desperately needs playmakers. So it's not going away. He's not a sell high candidate in season long. If you're a competing team in Dynasty, go get him. If you're a tanking team in Dynasty, he shouldn't be on your roster.
Yep. And I'll add one final line just from some added context. You pointed out that, he's getting more involved. Those 14 carries in back-to-back weeks, if you don't count the bye. His snaps also jumped. He started the year at 33, 42, 30. Then he jumped to 59. Now he's at 73. Now, the 73 might be indicative of the Mike Davis injury that happened last week. But the real thing is, and something that we needed to acknowledge early of why he didn't fit this mold, is that this is Cordell Patterson. When he's on the field, it's because he's scripted the ball. If he's not on the field, like now he's being on the field because they need him to be, because there's no one else, honestly, to be on the field at running back.
Yeah.
But that in the early season, that efficiency came because they wanted to get him the ball. And apparently for the first 8 years of his 10 years of his whatever it was of his career, no one else could figure that out. But
yeah, that's the thing. He's that Percy Harvin, Travis Etienne. He's the Tavon Austin. Like, this is a very like hit and miss group of backs, right? He's what Rondale Moore. He's what everybody wants Rondale Moore to be. You know what I mean?
He's a bigger Rondale Moore.
Like a slash, like he can split out wide, absolutely just dummy a cornerback, but also run it between the tackles. And like, he's not a tell. When he's on the field, it's like the only tell is that the ball's probably coming his way. Good luck. And it's weird that it took, like, with these slash guys, you see Tavon Austin seems to have gotten all these chances to be a superstar, whereas like Cordell Patterson was not afforded the same opportunity. And we're seeing that was a mistake this year.
Yeah, no, he was quickly designated as a special teams guy, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a lot of times, like, these coaches, these organizations really get anchored in draft capital. Like, you see like the amount of times that certain players are given like the amount of chances they're given to succeed. And a lot of times that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Is like, if you're allowed to hang around the league for 5 years as a quarterback and year 6+, we're seeing it with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, he's been in the league so long, he's just by proxy, like, it's called survivorship bias. Like, he's going to be good enough to make some noise. So, but we've talked about Cordell Patterson a lot.
Yeah. Do you want to switch to the two names I'm looking at here? I'm looking at names outside the top 15, and I'm looking at Leonard Fournette. Which one do you want to tackle?
I mean, I don't think Leonard Fournette is really taking anybody by surprise anymore.
Oh, he took me by surprise. Not anymore. He took me by surprise that this is happening. That he has solidified that into a 3-down role. And I won't. We don't need to talk much on it because I think that's what it is. I'm just surprised. I thought this was going to be a real timeshare at the 3-down position. I thought Rojo would mix in on early downs, but Rojo found himself in the doghouse and he is not getting himself out. So
yeah, I mean, week 4 was when a conscious decision was made that Leonard Fournette was going to start taking more of the backfield share. And then I believe it was week 5 against Miami. Giovanni Bernard came back, and we were worried that he was going to lose the 2-minute drill role. That didn't happen. Ronald Jones was, I guess, the threat early of the move the chains role. He would be on the field for red zone. Didn't happen. Leonard
Nope.
Fournette has just kind of went from being almost cut from this team to being like the engine that makes the running game go, which sometimes sometimes we try to predict what's going to happen and you just can't. And that's just how it is.
4 targets in all but one game. That's something.
Lombardi
honestly.
Lenny, dude.
We didn't see that coming.
Playoff Lenny. What a
it's
world.
all because Chris Collinsworth or whatever commentator was, but I think it was actually Joe Buck who said regular season Lenny on his first carry, and then he had like a career day. Whatever. But outside the top 15, I've been looking at. I'm praying that this Washington should be shutting down Antonio Gibson, at least for 3 weeks. But I mean, who else do we want to talk about?
We can talk a little bit about the Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Brandon Bolden. Am I going to get roasted right here? Because I deleted a tweet. There, I said it. I deleted a tweet.
No.
I deleted a tweet thread, which actually might be illegal. I might actually go to Twitter jail.
Oh, I'm about to delete my Jamar Chase thread that he's not happening this year.
You kept that up?
Oh, I've kept it up because I stand by my word, Nick Roll. What'd you delete?
Well, here's the thing. It was never about Ramondre Stevenson, is the thing.
Oh, it wasn't?
The thread was more about how I was using like projections to basically like set my lineup for the week, but also like spot like who's on the waiver wire right now that could add potential points to my lineup. Like I wouldn't start Ramondre Stevenson. I didn't need to. But if I did, like how could I get some more points? And I went through the whole process. It was probably like an 8-tweet thread. I tagged a bunch of people, just emojis. I did it Twitter School 101. And then come Sunday, Ramondre Stevenson inactive. And for those of you who didn't read my Twitter thread, it was basically showing that Ramondre Stevenson, his projection for this week, and Kenny Gainwell's projection for this week were exactly the same. One is available in like every sleeper league, 2/3. The other wasn't available in any of them. Oh, it was AJ Dillon.
What a star.
And I know we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but these are the moves like when you're in week 7 and everybody's on bye, like these are the ones that will get you those extra 5-10 points to catapult you to a win. So I was trying to show that. Long story short, Ramondre Stevenson, healthy scratch. So I had to delete a tweet thread, and I'm sorry. I will not be taking any further questions.
Yeah, no, I'm just a little bit ashamed that you didn't account for Bill Belichick's opinion.
What do you think happened? Is there any news on that? Like what? Like
what
they were giving him a lot of extra work.
It's as simple as Bill being like, I just don't like you. And it's I don't know. I mean, I don't think that Ramondre Stevenson is much personally. I think that Damian Harris is incredibly talented. So that's kind of where I leaned. But I mean, it's maybe I don't know. It was the Jets. Maybe they just wanted to see what JJ Taylor could do out there. Maybe they were shopping him a little bit.
What was the usage? What did the usage look like? I know that Damian Harris had a pretty good day. I don't know if his usage ticked up at all.
It didn't. He stayed at 46% of snaps. He was at 48 the week before, and he's been great for 3 straight weeks now. He's been a very talented player, especially the last 2 against the Jets and the Dallas. So and Dallas has not been the easy run on defense that it has been in the last couple weeks. So
Dallas's defense is a lot better than we expected, which is kind of not great for the heavy investment we have in them on the other side of the ball.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just
but that breakdown it came as Brandon Bolden and Damian Harris, and that's what it was. JJ Taylor didn't see the field until everyone was out. It was the Jarrett Stidham crew. It was Brandon Bolden who saw 7 targets, caught 6 of them for 79 and a score. He only saw 2 attempts. And he did all that on 28% of snaps as well. So
this is a tough business, man. Because if that's Ramondre Stevenson, that tweet thread, I'm framing it and putting it in a museum.
It is, yeah, you would be, but unfortunately,
because that's a tweet thread that saves your week. You know,
yes.
If it's like that's the problem with. It seems like I feel like it's only the Patriots, but it's not. Like, you think you have the guy pinned because it's the role, right? I was looking for the 7 target guy in the New England Patriots backfield, and every sign for the 2 games leading up to that day told me it was going to be Ramondre Stevenson. late scratch Brandon Bolden. We did know in enough time where if you needed Ramondre Stevenson, you could have swapped him out for Brandon Bolden. It's not like Brandon Bolden was rostered.
No.
So
not at this
like
point,
I said,
at least.
I could have amended it instead of deleting it, but I was just ashamed, man. I'm human.
No, I'm just listen. We all do these things. All right. Now, the really interesting thing is that Damian Harris is obscenely talented. It's just whether he will have these game scripts enough.
You're a big Damian Harris guy, huh?
You know I am. Damian Harris it made no sense that he wasn't used last year, but that's Bill Belichick. Maybe that's Ramondre Stevenson too. Maybe that's what's happening here. But Bill Belichick hates rookies. That's why Stevenson's down in the dump.
I did not.
We forget this because this isn't the Brady team.
There are no emotions. There are no emotions in the spreadsheets. That's the thing.
No, there are not.
And I don't know that Bill Belichick is a grumpy old man. I need a grumpy old man index. Who's on the grumpy old man index? Bill Belichick's on the grumpy old man index. Pete Carroll is old, a lot older than you think. He's on the grumpy old man. Jason Garrett is like relatively young. He's on the grumpy old man metric. He's popping in that model. I'll run the grumpy old man.
Bruce Arians is a big grumpy. Bruce Arians is
no, but he's not grumpy, dude. Bruce Arians likes to have a cocktail and mix it up a little still. He's not a grumpy old man.
When he wins the Super Bowl.
It shows, though. It shows that he can loosen up a little bit. All right, we've talked too much about grumpy old men.
Yes, we have.
Takes for the game tonight? What's the rant? Who do we need?
The rant is against the NFL for putting me in a position where this is the game on Monday Night Football. To be completely honest, I am very not interested in this game. But what I need to happen is Alex Collins to get less than 7 points. Otherwise, I go 1-6 in the ESPN league, despite being second in points for. This isn't about me. This isn't about me. This is about the Saints and Seattle. And who it's about is Rashad Penny.
Let's go! I'm so happy.
Now,
we're linked up, man. We're linked up.
And I promise that has nothing to do with what I just said about needing Alex Collins to fall. Alex Collins is a little bit nicked up. He's been injured in and out of practice this week. Mm-hmm. We're not sure what type of workload he's going to get. Rashad Penny's fresh off the IR. We don't know what type of workload he's going to get. But that's the person I'm watching tonight. Because Rashad Penny.
Feeling about Rashad Penny tonight.
Penny is I want to say
first round draft capital.
He's a first round draft pick. We just talked about before. Maybe draft capital isn't everything. Maybe it's overrated. But Rashad Penny is a good player. We've seen it on the field. It's just he hasn't been on it. And now we got Rashad Penny coming back after injury. He's back. He's a good pass catcher. I don't think DJ Dallas is that good, and he caught several passes last week and didn't do too much with it. If Rashad Penny could find himself in a good game script this week where they can't rely on Alex Collins because Alex Collins is not good, and Rashad Penny finds himself catching – I keep saying his full name, but Penny catches balls. He runs the ball, and then he finds his way in the end zone.
Demands respect.
Alex Collins has soft hands, but not for receiving. He drops that ball and he fumbles it.
Why are we railing on Alex Collins so much? Did he do something to you?
Well, we're
being pretty hard on Alex Collins.
I am being hard on Alex Collins, but that's just because I think Rashad Penny's a better player. And in the end of the day, this was Pete Carroll's pick. Pete Carroll chose to bring Rashad Penny. Yeah. And he's back. It's a hot hand. That's what Seattle's backfield is. If Rashad Penny rips off,
you're gonna see a lot of different backs in the beginning of the game. I just think it's like Pete Carroll, grumpy old man. He's gonna see Rashad Penny run over a few people because he's probably the only back that can, and he's like, we're just going with Rashad. So that's exciting. I'm really rooting for him. All think like it's got to be tough to come in that high of a draft pick and really have. I mean, of course, he's probably been able to take care of himself relatively well financially. But, I mean, he's looking at trying to play for a second contract. You know what I mean? Extend his career in the NFL. So I love the storyline. I'll be rooting for him. Put him in your captain slot, lock it in, and hope that DJ Dallas doesn't catch fire.
Yep. I do have a 10-minute ago report. Alex Collins was the first running back in preseason warm-ups. So, it is looking like he will get that start. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for who gets that start on the second drive, on the third drive.
How much condensation is coming out in their breath? Who seems more fired up? Do you have eyes on that?
Is this a Pete Carroll line? Because I don't trust anything that comes out of that man's mouth.
That's true.
So,
that's true. Yeah, Jet fuel does not melt steel beams. That's Pete Carroll.
Yeah, pretty much. That guy will tell me, right? He could tell me that Rashad Penny is getting a 3-down workload right now.
Hmm.
And then I tell you that Alex Collins is the back to play tonight.
Yeah.
So it's a total,
I love that
dark
Rashad
throw.
Penny is the rant guy because that's just tells
Listen,
you how gross this game is. We got
that's
Geno
that's the
Smith,
problem. Yeah, I have
Jameis Winston, and whatever the heck he's trying to do out there.
yeah. I
I don't
mean,
even know if it's football, to be honest
the
with you.
real an interesting guy to watch, just to throw the name out there. Traquan Smith is also coming back off the IR. He'll be active tonight.
The
They
prince
haven't
that
had
was promised.
anyone. Yeah, I can't stand Traquan Smith, but he'll be out there. And Marquez Callaway he's done the opposite of proving himself. He's proven that he isn't a number one receiver.
Yep.
Deontay Harris is still hurt. Juwan Johnson might be an interesting flyer.
Juwan
He's
Johnson.
hit.
Put
He's
Juwan
hit rock
Johnson in your
bottom.
captain spot and thank me later.
He's not in my captain spot, but he's in my lineup. It's an ugly game. This one. But who should be in your captain spot? You know, it should be the New Orleans Saints defense. It's that type of game.
Probably.
It's going to be it'll be a 21-10 game, and nobody's going to feel good about the 21.
Yeah, no one's going to bed happy tonight.
No, not
in
a
terms
single
of
person.
football.
Yeah, the winner of this game will go away very unhappy because they still didn't play well.
Yeah. Okay, that got dark at the end. So let's go ahead and just move on here. Yeah. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're gonna check out the game. Remember, we're brought to you by the Mobile Party Experience here at For Fantasy's Sake QC. This has been the Monday Night Hammer. I'm at run_the_Sims on Twitter. I'm joined by Michael__Sokola. You can find us at forfantasysakeqc.com. That's where you'll find our content. Waiver wire article coming soon. And you can find all of our stuff over at Twitter at FFSQC. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, try to enjoy tonight's game.